Welcome back. It's day 24 and now you can hopefully see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know you are capable of great things. You're working through self-doubt, self-sabotaging behaviors that have previously held you up. You're putting in place lots and lots of best practice. Maybe you have a great strategy lined up, ready to showcase how amazing you truly are. There's one problem. To achieve that greatness, when you aren't plagued by the self-doubt, you're pretty damn sure that that is going to be the key to your next promotion. You're taking on more responsibilities and really up-leveling the business as a whole. But the one thing you need is a bigger budget or a larger headcount. And that's the problem. In fact, it might even be worse than that. Maybe you're currently being asked to do far more than is possible in your current budget. And each of your ideas is being cross-examined and taken apart before they even get off the ground. Does that sound at all familiar? Welcome to the credibility paradox. Many of us get stuck in the trap of knowing we are capable of achieving so much more, but not having the buy-in from our bosses to be able to implement what you know needs to be done. You're lacking credibility. How can you gain credibility if you aren't able to take on this big, bold project though? Here's the hard part. You need to build credibility so that you can take on those big, bold tasks, be trusted with the bigger budget when all the other departments are being squeezed, and have your ideas way through executive meetings instead of being the person having to defend every single tiny piece of your proposal. So it's time to work on your credibility first. But how do you do that without the budget or trust that you know would mean you could get on and do more things faster? Well, here's the thing. You start small and you build, and it's going to be frustrating. So it's time to take a step back and look at your 3 pillars of leadership we talked about right at the beginning of this challenge. Here are some key questions to ask yourself if you're finding your credibility isn't where you want to be. Let's look at communication first. Are you communicating with senior management? With everything you've now learned, how assertive are you? Do you step over the line into aggressiveness? Dial up that self-awareness. Do you use the right voice for the right team? Do you lead with the conclusion and back it up with the why? Or do you follow through the entire story of how you got to what you intend to do? Do you keep managers informed of what's going on, current progress and timelines, including any unexpected changes to the schedule? Have you actively built communication channels and trust with all the influencers of your senior management team, including your peers and direct reports, because they have the ear of the people making decisions? Pillar 2, self-awareness. Are you actively reading the room and aware of the emotions going on? Are you actively listening and asking questions to verify you understand the priorities? What is the sense of trust you get from your peers and managers? Do you get defensive when you are challenged on your ideas or asked to do more than you know is possible? Or how's your whirlwind in a crisis? Do you leave people in your wake or build everyone up as a result of handling a problem? And the 3rd pillar, strategy. Do you have a clear strategy that is completely aligned with the business strategy? How can you automate or optimize what you are doing? How can you ensure that delivery is on the few but important tasks with fewer resources? Ultimately, you have to assume that you'll have fewer resources next year, so start planning for that now and build it into your strategy, even though no one is telling you to. It's better to over-deliver now than to argue against reducing your budget next year. Are you reminding your team daily of their highest priorities so that they know what to focus on to ensure strategy execution? Ultimately, if you're able to answer yes to every single one of those questions I've just asked you, you have great influence, and credibility is only a matter of time. But the likelihood is that there are areas that could be improved. So give yourself an honest appraisal and work on improving the area of your leadership that is lacking the most right now. The second piece of the puzzle when it comes to building your credibility is, of course, having something to execute and succeed on in the first place. If you haven't had the chance to even have a project to own, then that's where to start. Even if you don't have permission, you can still start something small. In fact, small and fast is better for credibility building than big. Find something you know is going to make an impact to the business, filling a key strategic goal, or making a key decision maker's life easier, and fix it. Don't ask for permission, just get on and do it. If you start approaching credibility building as an iterative process, taking one small issue or task and making it work, avoiding pushing back because you don't have the resources, and instead of figuring out what you can do with what you have, you'll wake up one day and realize you are the one that suddenly gets the increased budget because you'll have the reputation with doing more than your peers. Your homework today is to identify the project you are going to use next as your credibility building tool. Then work through your pillars one by one, rewatch this video and assess which areas of leadership you need to be working on to ensure that you end up with an outcome that isn't just great, but gives you the credibility that you deserve. It's time for you to step up as that trusted leader, but to do that, you first have to deliver.